morning and welcome to another video. I'm here at Kaitaichi station and I'm waiting for a train towards Kure. Today I'm going to a little island, and actually it's an island I didn't even know existed until 3 days ago. I was looking at a map the other night and I noticed a little blue line that indicated a ferry route, and following it I found a little island called Nasakejima, and that's where I'm going to try and go to today. There are only 3 ferries a day, and as far as I can see there are only 9 people living on the island. So it's a fairly rural place, I guess. Anyway, first of all I need to head to Kure, so I'm going to get on the next train on the Kure line. Okay, so here we are at Akiaga station. So from here it's just a short bus journey to the ferry port, and then hopefully, assuming there is a ferry running, it's about a 25-minute ferry journey to the island. So anyway, let's go and find the bus and then find the ferry port. So I got off the bus at Aga port, but there's nothing which is obviously a port. Behind me, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is a sort of fishing cooperative building, and there's a ship. It's hardly a ship, a boat that could be the ferry, but I'm not sure, and at the minute I can't see anyone to ask. It's 10 minutes before midday and the ferry is at 12:30. Incidentally, that's the first ferry of the day. So anyway, I've got 40 minutes to wait, and unfortunately nowhere to wait, so I'm going to sit just down here by the water's edge and wait and see if there's any sign of movement closer to 12:30. Hopefully I can get to this island, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't. Anyway, let's see. Alright, it's 10 minutes before the boat leaves, so I suppose it's about time to go and see whether the boat I think is the boat is actually the boat. Let's go and see. I don't know why, for some reason I feel a bit nervous. So, here I am on Nasakejima. As I say, this is an island whose existence I didn't even realise until just a few days ago, let alone that it still had a ferry service. As I say, there are only 3 services a day, the first of which from the mainland is 12:30, the ferry I caught. I think the first service from the island in the morning is 7:30, so presumably the few people who still live on the island, if they need to do shopping or anything, they can go across on the morning ferry and come back at lunchtime. Speaking of the people who live on the island, as I said, I think the latest figures I could find showed that there were only 9 people living here, but I'm fairly sure that those figures were from quite a few years ago. So it's fair to say that there could be even fewer people these days. Anyway, I think the extent of what there is to see is basically this one street. It's hardly a street really, just a path alongside the sea wall. I think that basically is the extent, anyway, of what there is to see. So I'm going to take a look as far as I can go, see if there's anything worth taking a few photographs of. Unfortunately, it's not the best of weather. It was quite nice this morning as I set off from Saijo, but now it's turned quite misty, hazy. So there's not going to be any spectacular photographs. But what I would like to take, if I could, is something that sort of shows the old-fashioned way of life in islands like this, I suppose. Anyway, let's see what we can find. The path along the seafront came to an end rather sooner than I'd expected. I hit the harbour. So I think I'm going to have to go a little bit inland to get to the far side of the harbour over there. I'm not sure if there's anything over there, even if I get that far, but I think it's worth going to see. So I'm going to try heading inland through the few houses that is just in this area. I would have said that this was once a shrine. In any case, whatever it was, it's nothing now. It's all quite sad, really. It's so silent here as well. I can't really imagine anyone living here. I can hear the birds. I can hear the boat scraping against the polystyrene balls that keep it from crashing into the ferry pier. But apart from that, there's no other sound. It's strangely silent, really. There are these paths up into the hillside, and I'm finding myself wondering how long it's been since anyone's taken them, and in a way, for that matter, whether anyone will ever take them again. The building on the left you can see now, I'm guessing maybe that was once a little school. In a way, I find it surprising that there could ever have been a school on this island. Maybe it was just a community centre. Whatever, it's quite a substantial building. Heading along the streets of the little village came to a dead end, or to be more accurate, a path up into the hills, as you just saw. So obviously that wasn't the right way to get around to the far side of the harbour. So I'm going to try the more obvious way of walking around the harbour. Let's see whether we can get all the way around to the corner of the island. Do islands have corners? I don't know. Anyway, let's see if we can get all the way to basically just there. This is a very melancholy little island, maybe especially in this slightly grey, slightly hazy sort of weather that we are having today. Maybe in actual fact this was a good day to have visited. But in any case, I think in the melancholy there's a beauty. I never thought I would be coming back to this island after today, but having visited for the first time, obviously, I can see that maybe I will be coming back. I think there's something here which maybe speaks of how the Seto Inland Sea used to be. I can't imagine that this was ever a very populous island, but I can imagine that it was a friendly island. I can imagine that there was a very strong community here. And I think even walking through the ruined buildings, and let's be fair, most of the buildings are, or at least seem to be, in various states of ruin. Even walking through those buildings now, I can feel an echo of maybe that community, that island spirit. I can imagine maybe at the little shrine I just saw the ruin of, maybe summer festivals, New Year festivals, where the island came together as one. It's a real shame that that probably never happens anymore, but I think the fact that you can still feel that sense of community is important, and I think, to me, that's one of the big ways that I'm finding now this island appealing to me. I mean, obviously it would be ridiculous to ever suggest that I would live here, but as I just said, I can really imagine myself visiting again. It's not the easiest place to get to, but I sort of feel that it's worth the effort. I'd like to explore more. I'd like to try and get around to the far side of the island. I think there are a few beaches, and I'm not sure how you would actually get to them, presumably over the hill. But that would be one thing I would like to try at some point in the future. But beaches notwithstanding, I really do feel that this little village, wedged in between the sea and the hill, this little village is enough. I'm really glad I came. I was doubtful about whether I would come or not, but even in this weather, maybe especially in this weather, I'm really glad I visited. Okay, I'm back at Akiaga station. As I say, it was a really pleasant jaunt to Nasakejima. I'm glad I went. And I just have one more thing to add to the story, in a way. On the ferry back, there was only one other passenger, and she happened to be a lady who'd been on the ferry I travelled on to the island as well. She'd obviously just been taking her parents back, her parents who actually live on the island, and we were talking as we were waiting for the ferry. Anyway, it turns out that there are now only 4 people living on the island. The lady in question's parents, and then 2 other single people, 1 man and 1 woman. She also told me, which I'd actually read somewhere else myself, that there's no running water on the island. So each house has its own well. So it's definitely a hard life on the island. It sounds like most of the people, there are only 4 people, but it sounds like growing vegetables is the main way of sustaining themselves. And then obviously they go across to the mainland and buy whatever other groceries or whatever they need. So certainly not an easy life, and certainly not, well, probably not an island with a long-term future. I can see in the next 10, 15 years maximum that it will become an uninhabited island, which will be a shame. But I suppose that's just the way things are. Anyway, for the time being at least, there are still 3 ferries a day running from Aga, which is near enough to Kure. So if you were interested in taking a little trip, it's still possible, and it's not the most convenient place, but it's equally not the most inconvenient place. There's not a great deal to see, but as I say, it's strange that an island I didn't even know the existence of just 2 or 3 days ago has left really such an impression in my memory. So anyway, I think that's a recommendation. If you're in the Hiroshima area and you want to take a trip to a slightly lesser known, very much lesser known island. Anyway, I think that's it for this time's video. So thank you very much for watching. I will be posting more videos. I'm not sure when, probably irregularly, but I will be posting more videos. So I hope to see you in one of them soon. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.